Good afternoon, beloved community. I am Melissa Miller, host of The Chosen Heroes, and thank you so much for sharing your Sunday afternoon with me. We have a really special guest. The one and only Ana Toledo is here to give us a great presentation. So let's kick off with the targeted justice news and review for this week.
Sick and tired of your gangstalking? There are many things you can do that are protected free speech. Number 1. Find out where the police union meets. It's usually once a month. Put these flyers under the windshield wipers if they are parked in the street or on public property. Number 2. Find the Fusion Center near you. Identify who the director is. Put up yard signs around the Fusion Center and along public streets that lead to the Fusion Center. The criminals hate this. For example, if the director's name is John Smith, on the yard sign put, "John Smith is a gangstalker." Number 3. Find out who is on the police advisory council appointed by the mayor. Send them flyers via email or find their home address. You can use sites like fastpeoplesearch.com to get you the information that you need. Remember, there are many legal ways you can do to get back at them. However, when traveling to fusion centers and police union meetings, always take someone with you. Do not go alone.
Gecko Pico, a targeted law-abiding citizen, has a way to record his V2K. And he shows you how you can do it too. We have seen this done before, but by using a loop and better noise filtering, the words becomes more apparent. It's a little rough, but he explains the phrases before he plays it in a loop. Dr. James Lynn has a book that explains the V2K technology. Auditory effects of microwave energy, available now on Amazon.
The Privacy Oversight Board reviews the watch list. Go to the site, in the upper right-hand corner with the icon of the magnifying glass, and type in watch list.
In Germany, it's Guten Tag, which also means good day. Ni hao is exactly how hello sounds in Taipei. In Portugal, it's hola. In Arabic, salam. Saying bravo means hello in Macedonian. It's aloha in Hawaii. They say asu in Greece. In Israel, the word shalom, and that means peace. The Italians have buongiorno. The Viennese servus. When you're at the Eiffel Tower, just smile and say salut. Hello, 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 hello. Though the way to say it varies most everywhere you go, its meaning never changes. Hello, hello, hello. Bye.
Calling all digital warriors. Please share, repost, copy and paste this video on all social media platforms. We are still looking for volunteers. Let us know how you can help and the skill sets that you have by emailing us at tjustice2@proton.me. Put volunteer in the subject line. You can watch targeted justice videos by going to the following link. Buy some cool gifts, shirts, hoodies, cups, keychains, and more by heading to the following links. Please consider donating. Targeted Justice is non-profit, and the donations are tax deductible. Thank you again for watching this video. God bless. God bless.
Sean does a great job, as always. Thank you so much. I don't know what we would do without him. He's just a great asset to this community and all the hard work that he puts in for each and every one of us. I wanted to just quickly go through a couple of announcements. I want to give a shout out to Armando at targetsourcellc.com. I can't speak enough for how much the Silent Night device helps me at bedtime, at nighttime. So I urge those that have any questions regarding the device and the products that he offers to reach out to him at silentnight.source@gmail.com. And as always, I want to mention tievents.org, the beautiful job that Tranquility does, organizing all the events that are up and coming for the week, for our community to plug into. She also has the TI movie nights as well, which I think is amazing. So the selections that she makes are always great. And I want to thank each and every one of you that tune in and subscribe and follow, like, and share on my social media accounts. Of course, my major platform is X, and I do this for each and every one of you because, you know, we have to band together and get this program exposed and shut down. Next week's guest is going to be Bob Getman, and he is going to give us a wonderful presentation and discussion about Morgellons syndrome. I've had multiple targeted individuals reach out to me and wanting this subject covered, and graciously Bob has accepted to join us next week and provide that, you know, necessary discussion. It's going to be great. So I ask that you tune in and don't miss out. So our very special guest today, beloved community, let's all extend a heartfelt welcome back to Ana Toledo, who is a fearless warrior in the battle against government weaponization and injustice. And for those unfamiliar with her story, Ana hails from Puerto Rico, where she earned her law degree and built a distinguished career as an environmental attorney. Specializing in Clean Water Act citizen suit lawsuits, she tirelessly addressed water pollution crisis and pursued multiple cases challenging government and agency failures to enforce vital environmental laws. And tragically, her unwavering commitment drew retaliation from corrupt oligarchs and polluters, marking her as a targeted individual. Ana has endured organized stalking, invasive electronic surveillance, illegal medical implantations, and assaults via directed energy weapons, resulting in severe physical harm, including burns, chronic pain, Havana Syndrome symptoms, and even a fabricated cancer diagnosis followed by unnecessary radiotherapy. In the face of these relentless attacks, she made the difficult decision to flee Puerto Rico. In September 2022, undeterred, she embraced a new calling as lead counsel for Targeted Justice, where she now also serves on the advisory board. Her primary focus is civil rights and shutting down the criminal unacknowledged special access targeted individual program. Her passionate advocacy, unyielding resolve against corruption, and dedication to human rights have earned her profound respect and admiration within the targeted community. Renowned for her transparency, deep compassion for those in suffering, and refreshingly candid advice, Ana hosts a weekly podcast called The Gavel every Wednesday at 8 p.m., delivering timely updates on government developments and related issues. And on a personal level, Ana embodies resilience, gratitude, forgiveness, and the transformative power of turning adversity into purpose. Recently, she left the supportive circle of friends in Texas to relocate to Washington, D.C., positioning herself closer to the key government representatives who hold the influence to dismantle these targeting programs. She has already convened meetings and delivered powerful testimonies to select officials, shedding light on this modern day form of human enslavement. And today she joins us and has prepared a presentation about the Privacy Act. And in addition to that, she will share her latest updates on her groundbreaking work in the nation's capital. So without further ado, hello, Ana. Thank you so
Hi.
much for
Hi, thank
joining
you.
us here.
Thank you,
Yes.
Melissa. I feel so humbled by your introduction. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here because this is an effort. Yeah, I'm doing a lot, but I depend on the effort that the community carries out to shut this down. This is not just a one-man band, one woman band. This has all of you are very important in this battle. So I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, and it is. I was so thrilled when I heard that you had mentioned to me that you had prepared this very very informative presentation about the Privacy Act. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up on the screen so that everyone can see. All right, let's get to the first slide. So you want to go ahead and describe what the Privacy Act of 1974 is all about.
Yes. Yes. Well, before I go into it, I want to explain that the reason why I think this initiative is important because we have number one, Chuck Grassley exposed, declassified an electronic communication that explained the existence of the prohibited access and restricted access files, both of which are not within the purview of the public officials that answer FOIA Privacy Act requests. The importance of this lies in the fact that that is where I am absolutely certain your nomination to the TSDB is hidden, as well as all the other information regarding that the FBI has called on you, has collected on you. And the reason why it's in the prohibited access is because you're not a criminal, and they know it, and they know they shouldn't be having your records. And that is what, the Privacy Act of 1974 specifically said, that each agency that maintains a system of records, they can only have information about an individual as it is relevant and necessary to accomplish a purpose of the agency required to be accomplished by statute or by executive order of the president, and collect information to the greatest extent practicable directly from the subject individual. This information you provide when the information may result in adverse determinations about an individual's rights, benefits, and privileges. For example, like applying for SNAP benefits or Medicaid or whatever. But here's the thing: in the first one, you see that and in the context of the FBI, they can only maintain such information about an individual as it is relevant and necessary to accomplish the purpose of the agency. We know that the FBI that the Office of Inspector General has specifically stated that there are non-investigative subjects in the FBI terrorist screening database. That does not meet any mission of the agency. So that is let's go to the next slide. That is the first strike they have in there. They are maintaining records on you that they should not have. And here it explains what comprises record. Of course, this statute was drafted in 1974, so it's old, but now record, that is why in the FOIA request that I wrote, the Privacy Act request, which is different from the FOIA because even though they come from the same statute, as a Privacy Act requester that you're requesting your information, you have a broader right to it because you have constitutional rights that protect you. And so here, like privacy, for example, so the term record can also include, for example, text messages, with the new technology, emails, but basically it says any item, collection, or grouping of information about an individual that is maintained by the agency. including the money they spend on gang stalking you, including but not limited to education, financial transactions, medical history, criminal or employment history, and that contains his name or the identifying number, which we know is the terrorist screening center number, because the way they classify you is not through your social security number, but an assigned terrorist screening center number. So basically, it's a record is the universe of anything that can contain your information. Let's go to the next one.
Yes, and
You have questions here.
Just to make a note, so, of course, Snowden, Edward Snowden did bring forward just how not private things are and how easily accessible it is. So anything that has a digital footprint is up for grabs with these agencies. It's just, and that's just worldwide. At any given moment, they can just, for whatever reason, if they want to flip that switch on somebody, and then they have it all at their fingertips.
And they scan everything. They have instructions that anything and everything that comes into the agency, if it's not in electronic form, they have to put it into an electronic form and enter it into their big, Sentinel, huge Sentinel database.
Exactly. And then they have the back door to the social media platforms. We know that with Facebook and such. So, I mean, they really have their tentacles into everything. They can learn every aspect about us.
But those are your records that are filed in that agency. So if they have, let's say, posts from you from Facebook stored in their system, they have to produce them. Just the same way, if they censored a post of you from Twitter, they have to produce it. So the system of records means a group of records under the control of any agency from which information is retrieved by the name of the individual or some identifying number, symbol, or other identifying particular assigned to the individual. Why is this important? Because the FBI criminals, when they answer your FOIA requests, they said, oh, we search in the central records system. But that is a very limited subset of their entire Sentinel system. And now that we know that there are two hidden categories, that is why we have to emphasize, no. FOIA says you have to look all your files, not just the ones you decide to search. And if they challenge that, like, no, I'm only going to look here, well, guess what? That's part of the initiative that we want this to be a nationwide initiative. We have targeted individuals in all the states. This is the way you are going to obtain the receipts on you. This is the most important thing you can do right now to shut down this criminal program. So do you have any questions, Melissa?
To me, I think we've gotten to a point in time where each and every one of us is, they assess us in terms of a threat score. So we know that there's many avenues of how one can get activated or marked as a risk or a threat. Of course, whistleblowers, of course, those that stand up in the face of corruption and speak the truth speakers, not the ones that are just going along, from the day to day in the herd, and not, searching or reaching out for anything more than what they did the day before. And I'm not trying to diminish those, but there's a lot of entrainment through, of course, social media, through media outlets, news and such, that kind of keep people in that stuck, glazed over zone. And then there are those that are, the morality of the individuals and their courage to speak out against the herd. And I think that is where we are especially getting into this time where we're going to be graded in some aspect on risk and, okay, this person just goes with the flow, or this is one that is going to be vocal or speak out in truth. Do you feel that we're headed into this, or we're here right now in these scoring systems, like with this Sentinel, data collection, data centers that they have on us, they can screen risk?
I think that if we know we are targeted, we are in a special category, which is, it doesn't get worse in terms of the targeting. Okay, like the people that don't know they're targeted, the people that don't know they're on any list. And this is something I've been exploring with the amazing work that Dr. Bear has done for me, because they have all these, they're creating now these different lists that we don't even know what they are, obviously. But I think, I think that, I don't know if this is what you're asking, but we cannot be in more lists than we already are, if that makes sense to you.
Well, we're on that list.
It doesn't, that's rock bottom, and that's why it is up to us to rise from that. And that's one of the things that I was really very proud when I talked to this one person that we're going to be meeting with. I said to him, they're going to call you and tell you I'm a criminal and a terrorist or crazy.
Yeah,
I know.
and the days of this, perfected, crafted psyop to make us all seem, discredited, emotionally, mentally unstable, and all of this stuff, it is crumbling. And it's just
absolutely, absolutely, because that's why this show is so important. And that is why the voices from our community, and I really urge people, I know that some of you feel this urge to be recording the car there or the drone there, but that doesn't do good to the community, because you have to put yourself in the position of a normie that doesn't know what you're showing them. So it is up to us to maintain that seriousness about what we put out there, in order to not be classified as delusional, or the narrative. That's why Dominic's documentary is so groundbreaking, because it explained the program, not the entire program, but great part of the program, in such intelligent and dispassionate. There was emotion, but it was, nobody can say anybody speaking on that documentary is crazy or delusional. I don't know if you agree with me.
I agree 100%. That was a very great representation of our community, and that we are, speaking the truth about these things happening to us. In the way that he delivered it, it was very digestible, I think, for those unaware. It did not, lead or even hint at any kind of psychosis or instability. The way that was presented, he really he did such great service for this community by putting such a well informational documentary together for us.
So that's what I urge people to just look at it and see how people express themselves there.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep that line, because again, some normies, there's that famous line from Jack Nicholson, you can't handle the truth. Some normies cannot handle the truth, the
And I
crude
think they're
truth.
conditioned to that too, because if they're plugged in to what the media and mainstream is feeding them, that perpetuates their own, bubble of not understanding what is truly outside of the box in terms of what's really going on, because they are fed, what the media wants to feed them and to keep them stuck energetically and to buy into, oh, that must be a delusion or instability. But if they would zoom out and just see the bigger picture of what this whole year has represented, and that we have been fed mistruths since birth. We were conditioned into not, question authority, and to, everything that is presented to us by the government is for our best interest. So that illusion should be shattered at this point. But there are still some that would rather stay stuck than to come to terms, because psychologically it is very overwhelming, to know that there has been such deception all this time. But for us, it was easier for us to see all of these things unfolding because we already know what is possible, and the cover up, and the psyop on us to keep us, for people from hearing what we have to say in truth.
Yeah. Well, back to system of records. It FBI, which is under DOJ, includes FBI Guardian, eGuardian, Central Record System, which is the little place where they were only doing the searches, NCIC, which is what they send to over 18,000 law enforcement, over 1,200 organizations, over 800 corporations, which is the one where we are tagged as suspected terrorists. The Sentinel, which includes the prohibited access and the restricted access files. So FBI cannot say, no, I'm just going to look here. No, they have to look into the universe. And I have a right as an American citizen or resident. I'm going to go later into the people that are non-citizens that can have a right to this under this law. So stay tuned. But, as an American citizen, I have a right to see everything. There's very short, few exceptions. We're going to discuss them now. Everything that is in their files. So if we can go to the next slide. Okay. It's what records can they keep there? Maintain records? Mm-hmm. We had discussed this as its relevance. So let's go to the next one. Okay, this is very interesting. But can you go into the what records they cannot keep? It's the sixth slide.
Oh, the previous one?
Yeah, what records they cannot keep. Okay, there. Okay. So this is very, very important because, of course, they're going to have them, but they're not going to show them. And that's why we're going to have to move into phase 3, because I'll tell you about phase 2 later. But it says, the statute says that the agency cannot maintain records describing how the individual exercises their First Amendment rights. So we know that in December of 2021, there was a memorandum that Tulsi declassified saying that anybody that opposed COVID mandates was to be classified as a violent domestic extremist. I don't know if you remember that. Mm-hmm. And so the same with the J6ers. Every J6er should do a Privacy Act request. If you know a J6er, tag them, send them this video because they need to do it. It is beyond their Brady documents. As you know, the Brady documents are the ones that when you are in a criminal case that you have been accused, you have a right to get what it's called the Brady documents, which is exculpatory evidence. Well, now that it has come out publicly that the J6ers were entrapped, and moreover, then it is very likely that the pipe bomber was a setup so they could add the terrorism charge to all these J6ers. Well, this didn't come out of the blue. For months prior to J6, these people were being spied upon so they could be entrapped. They were spied upon by the FBI, and those files are hidden. They are hidden in their systems, and they have an obligation to give them to them. And that is what Ed Martin said, that when Chuck Grassley, Senator Grassley, declassified the electronic communication about the prohibited and restricted access files, Ed Martin immediately said, this is a huge problem with the Brady violations. Now, is that the reason why Ed Martin only has one employee under him? Because they don't want him doing the job that he's supposed to do, de-weaponizing the government? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But you see that that's what they cannot, a lot of targeted individuals have been illegally placed on the FBI records and lists for exerting their First Amendment right. So, and that's in complete and direct contravention of the Privacy Act. So let's go to the next one. There's penalties. There's penalties for employees. There's even criminal penalties for people, for example, that disclose your information, which is what we have been saying, that they disclose your information without your authorization to third parties. Like, for example, the InfraGard and Citizen Corp minions that go around spying on you and vandalizing and killing your pets and vandalizing your property and sneaking into your property. So this is a provision that when the time comes for exposure, we want those FBI criminals fired and convicted for sharing our information illegally. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so here's the right that the Privacy Act, this is not the FOIA, it's the Privacy Act, which is the cousin of the FOIA, right? Mm-hmm. And it's the sister, actually, pretty much like the sister. It gives you the right to access to your records. Agency that maintains it's upon the request of any individual to gain access to his or her records or to any information pertaining to him or her which is contained in the system. No exceptions. It doesn't say in there, the system that the agency decides to look in. No, it's all the records within the agency system, which is exactly, that is why Michael Seidel, the guy that was the head of the FOIA office for the FBI, he signed many of our denials. We cannot confirm or deny because he was hiding your records and my records within the agency, because since we're not criminals, the FBI is not supposed to have anything on us. Absolutely nothing. So that's what it gives you the right. And then it gives you a right to go personally. And this is what I'm going to ask you all when you do your Privacy Act request. You're going to say either you send me all this in a CD-ROM, or else I want to go personally and inspect my records. And it gives you even the opportunity, the right to go with someone. And it doesn't have to be an attorney. Notice what it says. It says, permit and upon request a person of his own choosing to accompany him or her. So you can go with a witness and to review the record and have a copy made of any or portion thereof. So you can ask for your records to be brought to your local FBI agency for you to examine them. Now,
that's very good to know. What do you think? I know that many TIs have stated that they have did FOIA requests and things have been turned up, blank or denied of the request. What do you think is like contributing to the failure? Is it the wording being used, or is it just the resistance, from the agency to give that information?
Both. That is why I'm going to put this presentation in the Targeted Justice website and probably in the Targeted Justice newsletter for reference for everybody. So you need to put the specific language. This is a Privacy Act request for me, and these are my names and my also known as my aliases, and these are my addresses, and this is my email. So you cannot say that I didn't, because this is one of the things they say. Oh, you didn't provide enough evidence to be able to locate records from you. So you're
That's
gonna
what
put
they
in there.
told me.
That's what they told. Yeah. So you have to put, your maiden name or your married name and I have, for example, I'm Ana Toledo, but I also put my mom's last name, Ana Toledo Davila, or Ana Luisa, my middle name. You have to put all the possible combinations so they don't come back and say what they said to you. Oh, we couldn't locate anything. Okay. And then the second part is you have to look, the statute says you have to look in your system of records, not in just one part of your records. And this includes eGuardian, Guardian, prohibited access files. And remember one thing, if you have filed any sort of complaint with the FBI, or if you have had a phone call denouncing directed energy weapons or whatever, that is one record they have to produce to you. And I know they have not produced it to hundreds of you. Because, for example, I have, but the good thing is I found when I went to Puerto Rico now, I found a document that I took there and it was signed by one of the criminals. So I have that evidence when I go to court to say they didn't even produce this, which I gave to them. And of course, I'm not going to say what the document is. So let's go to, okay, so the other thing that you have,
Yes,
a
the
right,
cash cow. You ready for me to play
no,
that?
it was in Puerto Rico, it was in Puerto Rico. So let's go, another thing, another right it gives you, the privacy is within 10 days, you can send them a letter saying, you need to correct this record of mine because this is wrong. For example, if they come, if they are forthcoming, which I don't have much hope, but let's say they do, without having to go to court, well, and they give you your nomination form as a terrorist, guess what? You have to write to them and say, you have to correct this because this is not accurate. And they have 10 days to correct it. Okay? So this, it's a powerful tool that the only reason why this is the moment to exert these rights is because Senator Grassley exposed that they had hidden files, and that's illegal. They cannot do that. Okay? Because the FOIA people have to be able to search the entire system, the entire Sentinel. And so if you have problems with security clearances, put in there people that have the security clearances to look at the whole thing. Okay?
Did you want me to play the video of Cash Patel?
Yes, please do. Please do.
Yeah. All right. Let me go ahead and bring that up.
And we're going to continue to expose it. And you're going to see everything we found in that room in one way or another, be it through investigation, public trial, or disclosure to the Congress.
See, that little clip is his talking about the burn bags, the documents that were found, the 7 bags that were supposedly going to be burnt documents, and that it seems a white hat put them somewhere so they won't be destroyed. Well, if they are going to make these documents public, they cannot deny, which are third-party documents, they cannot deny us access to our documents. And Kash Patel also said publicly, and I played it in one of my gavels, I kicked down the prohibited access door file door. So we have now receipts to hold him accountable because he says accountability is coming. And he knows about this because he has written about it in his book, Government Gangsters, how the first thing that the government had to do in order to shut down the deep state was empanel a new church committee. And let me tell you, the church committee never really died because there is a Senate Select Intelligence Committee directed by Tom Cotto, on whose door I have knocked already 3 times. And those of you in Arkansas, please write to him. And he refuses. He has not granted me a meeting yet. And here's the thing. His committee has an obligation to have shut down this program years ago. And they are looking the other way. And they have one CIA asset in that committee who is Cronin, who is the senator from Texas that when I went to his office with Sally Priester, they literally kicked us out of there. So he shouldn't be in the Senate Select Committee, Intelligence Committee, because he's covering up for the CIA. And I certainly hope that Ken Paxton wins his seat in the upcoming election. So now you know about that. Once they give it to you, because they're going to have to give it to us, whether it be extrajudicially or after a judicial procedure, well, then you have a right to have the records corrected. Let's go to the next one. The exceptions. So the exceptions, it says the exception, the agency doesn't have to give you the documents if they are compiled for the purpose of identifying criminal offenders. We already know we are non-investigative subjects. And alleged offenders consisting only of identifying data and notations of arrest, the nature and disposition of criminal charges, sentencing, confinement, or information compiled for the purpose of criminal investigation. Again, they've been waiting to get lucky, to get any criminal information on us, and they just wait and nothing happens.
And that is what is, it really does, confirm that that's why they want us to act out in a way that is either harmful to ourselves or someone else, so that they can get that conviction or that charge on us, and to sequester the information from coming forward.
Absolutely. And that is why I tell TIs, bite your tongue, hold your breath, take a breath, because they want, while they are creating a situation for you, like a difficult situation,
It's a setup.
they are microwaving you. They're microwaving you aggressivity for you to act. I'm going to tell you something. When I was in Puerto Rico, all of a sudden I would bump into these criminals. They're like, very wealthy criminals, oligarchs. And what they wanted me, because they knew what I thought of these people, right? Just all of a sudden in the corner of my house, I would see, like, I remember this one instance. And what they wanted was for me to say, you're this and this and that, so that that person would file some charges against me and then they would set me up.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I was targeted, but for the grace of God, I kept my mouth shut because I have a law license to protect. And that is what made me be very proper about what I put out there. See, in terms of private people, because I have no problem calling the CIA criminals and the FBI criminals, because they are public officials and they have to prove me wrong. So when they set you up in a situation where you are very angry or very frustrated, you have to invoke the Holy Spirit and you have to take a breath, because while they are putting you in that situation, they are microwaving you to make you act out criminal in some way that they can accuse you of something. Does that make sense?
100%.
Okay.
It happens a lot. I know it, but and I know that for those that are newer and just trying to understand what it is, what all this encompassing experience as a targeted individual is, the best word of advice is to never act out in any way that is unfavorable to you or against anyone, because as Ana has stated, they can entrap you by getting a charge or a conviction on you, and then they will deny information being released as a reason because of that. And, that doesn't mean that if you have had a violation or a charge that you don't give up. You continue to do the fight and expose and to bring awareness of what is going on. I mean, we are under heavy attack. The most sophisticated directed energy, central nervous system override, trying to hijack our thoughts, and of course our privacy and stuff. You know, we're under constant bombardment. So just food for thought. Just be careful, very careful going forward.
Yes, and I'm gonna tell you, I didn't make that up. The Lighthouse taught me that there are studies that policemen, when they are in these like that they have these in the street encounters with riots and stuff, that they have microwaved the policemen to make them more aggressive. I didn't make that up, okay? So but that, like I said, that doesn't mean we're going to stop exposing the criminals. It's just that you are not going to do a personal attack that the person can say, oh, I felt stalked, intimidated, I felt that person was going to attack me. That's what you need to avoid, because it's a trap and a setup. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Remedies for non-compliance. Well, if you are an American citizen or resident, that the agency fails to produce the access that you're requesting. Remember, you're asking either for digital, say, exact copies of your documents, anything on you, including the communications that were generated in order to reply to your Privacy Act request, and also so you can file it in your district or in Washington, D.C., right? And it's injunctive relief for access and correction of records. And you can also, the ones here in America, can ask for damages resulting from the non-production or non-compliance with the statute. Okay. Now, so those are additional remedies aside from the criminal penalties that people that violate officials, public officials that violate the act can incur in. Okay, so let's go to where to file the lawsuit. Let's go to slide 14 that says, is it just for Americans? And these are the good news, okay? It's not good for news for everybody, but as a result of the Judicial Redress Act of 2015, everyone in the European Union has a right to file a Privacy Act request with the agencies that are listed in the Judicial Redress Act. No, not the agencies that the Attorney General included to be susceptible under this act to produce information. Fortunately, DOJ, under which FBI is, and DHS are two of those agencies. So this Judicial Redress Act extends the right to pursue certain civil remedies under the Privacy Act. The European Union, as a regional economic integration organization, covers from all 27 member states. So if you're in Germany, in Spain, in France, you have a right to demand to see your records from DOJ, which includes the FBI, includes the United Kingdom, even though they are not part of the EU. Now, here is one of the things that it's not going to be included, and it's not for them or not for us. It's all the files. For example, we know that InfraGard does most of the hacking of our electronic communication, social media, etc. So the reason that the FBI created InfraGard is to have them to be exempt from FOIA. But I wouldn't worry about that right now, because eventually we can get to the point where a court can order them through a subpoena to produce the records on you. So we're not, like my mom used to say, let's not cross that bridge until we get to that river. So the people in Europe have the right to file injunctive relief and for the correction of record. So if you're not a terrorist and you were illegally, you have a right to demand the correction of that record. Now, The limitation is that those cases have to be filed in the District of Columbia, not in your hometown, like any other person throughout the United States. Okay. The remedies for the Europeans, let's continue. See, only cover records, which is personal data transferred from a covered country to a U.S. agency for law enforcement purposes. The remedies is injunction and access to amendments. Okay. And also to the unlawful willful disclosures, which is what is FBI doing sending my information to the CIA and the Space Force? Why are they doing that?
Mhm.
Okay. Next one is it's limited to the designated federal agencies, which have been numbered. I can just read you some of them, some of these agencies that have been approved. But for example, Department of Justice, Office of the Associate Attorney General, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Antitrust Division, Board of Immigration Appeals. So a Bureau of Prisons. But I think that the two that are most important for the victims of government weaponization are both DOJ, which comprises FBI, and DHS, which both are included in these designated federal agencies. Let's go for the next one. The caveats. It doesn't, for the European people, they don't have the right to injunctive relief or to try to put people in jail, but that doesn't really matter. What matters is getting access to the documents, in my opinion, because these damages, and even if you're going to file under the Privacy Act a lawsuit, the damages you can prove are nothing compared to the damages you will prove after you obtain the information. So I would just ask for nominal damages. And then exhaustion of remedies. But this is important both, and I'll explain in the next slide. For the people in Europe, it is a requirement prior to filing a lawsuit. You have to, within the period that they give you, which I think the FBI now gives 90 days, you have to file an appeal. For this, I am going to be publishing both in the Targeted Justice newsletter and Targeted Justice website a format of the appeal, so you don't feel lost in space, so you know how to adapt your situation to the appeal that you want to write. Okay. And again, as I said, the venue for the people in Europe, unfortunately, is the district court for the United States District Court for the District of Columbia. Unfortunately, my beloved people in Australia, my beloved people in Mexico and Argentina, they have not been included in this act yet. So you do not have the right yet to be included. Now, the Supreme Court has said that United States citizens don't have to exhaust administrative remedies in order to go to a court of law and demand compliance. However, that kind of fight, it doesn't cost you anything to file the appeal. It's free. And I'll provide you with the information. And the reason why we want to do it is because we want to eliminate that argument and give a court an excuse to dismiss. By filing your appeal and then getting their denial, you say, look, I gave them an opportunity to correct their mistake and they insisted on committing their mistake. So, and also most United States district courts in the context of FOIA, not Privacy Act, have ruled that you have to exhaust your administrative remedies. Remember, what we want is to exclude giving them excuses to not comply. So the language to include this, I'm going to put in the, if you go to targetedjustice.com/activism, that's where the format, I'm going to update the format there to include that in the alternative, you don't want to produce me the digital copy of this, like right away, I want to examine every record that contains my name and my identification, whatever you use to identify me. So you look for that in the Targeted Justice website. Rule of thumb, we need to file the appeal, and I'm going to be posting it in Targeted Justice, in my Meta, and in Targeted Justice website. Now, what you say? Well, they're going to deny me. Okay, we are in a very different moment from 2022, 2023, and 2024. Right now, we have an administration that even if they're not fully practicing it, okay, that they are saying we are transparent, and the prohibited access and the restricted access files are no longer. And we have Ed Martin saying that that was a violation of Brady to every TI that is in prison, because he was not granted his Brady files that stated all the setup and entrapment that the FBI criminals perpetrated upon him or her. Well, this is the moment. Okay. So this requires organization. You have to be meticulous about your records, about what you send them. I prefer to send them by mail, priority mail, to have a little file, scan everything, document everything, be very organized, because I want this to be a nationwide and Europe-wide effort. We can shut down this program through this effort. And it's each one of you. What have you done today to shut down this program? This is one very important thing that you need to do for yourself and to shut down the program. So I don't know if you have any questions, Melissa. Sorry, I went on with the presentation.
No. This is very informative. It's very inspiring. You know, I had a denial from my information. I thought I had listed all my name variations. I was previously married, so but maybe I missed one, or maybe just something else was not as it should be. I had resistance on that first attempt, but it's not going to deter me. I'm going to try again. This is definitely confirmation of the necessity to go ahead and request that information again, to see what I can find. I have a strong probable reason why and how I got on this blacklist, working for a private multimillionaire with connections to HBD Foundation Board and politicians throughout all of Texas. No law firm would touch anything with him because they knew they would lose. And the most prominent one in Houston told me that directly. Nobody can go up against that man and win because of his unlimited resources and far-reaching connections. But that shouldn't deter anybody. It didn't deter me to continue to seek out and find and want to gain information on how all this happened to me and have it in front of me to look at. So this is very empowering and inspiring, and I hope others tuning in today do as well, because we will be showing an example of the writing for that request, and we'll review that. When do we want to go through a couple more of the remaining slides here, or do we want to go ahead?
I think I covered them. What I did want to say is that courts have recognized the class action mechanism in the context of Privacy Act. So, I cannot emphasize enough how, even if you were denied, and I know that recently some people have already been denied, like Marlena, like Emilio, they have already been denied their Privacy Act request, and I'm working to draft, since I have a benefit of having their denials, to draft the sample appeal, and I will provide it to them, but I will also post one without names, obviously, so that people can copy it. Because we have to herd these people into transparency. And it's a matter of time. This won't, they can only hide it for so long. Now with the disclosures on the prohibited access, what I did wanted you to show, if you could, is the other two for a Privacy Act request that I sent was a number one on DSAC, DSAC.gov. That is the agency that is comprised of 800 corporations, the ones that have over $2 billion in revenue, that they come into your house and spy on you. If they're like, for example, the people that put the alarm or the people that put the AC, well, if they are among the 800 companies, they are sending the FBI a little report on you. And then also DHS, TSA. If you have the addresses there, the email addresses. Why? Because they publicly put out the records on how they spied on Tulsi every time she flied around. So if they put out the records that they had on Tulsi, why not yours? So you should have,
Exactly. So for these email addresses, what information should the community send to these at? Can you
These should
explain the DSAC?
in the DSAC, just say, this is a Privacy Act request. I want any and all records that you have on me. And these are my identity, and this is my identifying information. And for DHS, you want all the a list of all the flights that they followed you around if you flew, all the reports that were rendered, all the pictures, photographs that were taken of you, everything that is on your file as a result of the surveillance perpetrated under the quiet skies.
That's very good information. And then we also have up here an example of the Privacy Act request. And it may be a little small to read, but Ana, you said that this template is going to be along with the presentation that you put together on the Privacy Act today on targeted justice. Will it be in your Mira Substack newsletter?
I'll put it everywhere. And targetedjustice.com as a permanent record, and I'll have it posted in Targeted Justice and Substack. Please notice the FOIA address for DHS, which of course they haven't answered, but it's FOIA at tsa.dhs.gov. So you want to keep that evidence. You want to print out that email, so you don't want it being erased. And you want to keep very organized files, and then picture or scan of them and put them away somewhere else, because we are all subject to break-ins, and we don't want documents disappearing. We're gonna make this happen, Melissa. I am here this week. I really want you to hold us in prayer. I have asked the people that have been diagnosed with Havana Syndrome, even if you do not want to form part of Dr. Lambert's civilian registry, which is the most amazing tool we have to document that Havana Syndrome is not just happening to federal employees. If you want to shut down this program, one of the ways is proving to these people in Congress that it's not just federal employees. You can send me the sworn statement. You can contact me at annapj@proton.me. If you have a diagnosis, please don't say, yeah, I got an MRI and because I saw my brain like that, whatever, I know I have Havana syndrome. No, it's a diagnosis from a medical doctor. I know I have Havana Syndrome. I have CT scans, I have MRIs, but I don't have a diagnosis. So no, I cannot do the sworn statement. You know why? Because it would be perjury. So you don't want to commit perjury. It's a statement under penalty of perjury that I promise absolute confidentiality, and I would only show it to the people that we're meeting with to prove that it's not just happening to federal employees.
And
So
what Dr. Burr has stated before, since most medical doctors, they may not really be up to terms with diagnosis of Havana syndrome, but one way to get what you need is the diagnosis of traumatic brain injury
yes,
and the vestibular dysfunction.
yes, yes,
That
that's
this
sufficient.
this
That is sufficient.
mhm.
But so I have not received. I know there's a lot of TIs that have been diagnosed, and the only ones whose affidavits I've received are the ones that are in the civilian registry. And that speaks volumes of how, you know, we're all in on this. I'm here fighting for all of you, even those of you that slander targeted justice or me. I'm fighting for everybody because I want to be as free as each and every one of you. So I really hope that those of you, and running out of time because this is this week. So if those of you that want to send it to me with a confidentiality, I really look forward to that, because the more evidence we can bring to this person that these are not random civilians, that this is happening in America, the more chances we have of having an investigation started on this.
And just some pointers from just a previous, conversation with Dr. Lynn Burr earlier this year on the Chosen Heroes. When you go in to try to obtain the diagnosis that, the traumatic brain injury, the vestibular damage, these are the key components of the Havana syndrome symptoms. So you have to focus in when you're having a dialogue with these medical doctors. You can't go running in there. It's not advisable to say that, oh, I'm a targeted individual and I am having, directed energy and audio, transmissions to my head. And what you need to focus in is on the general symptoms, which is the dizziness, the loss of balance, feeling pressure in your head and burning, and then brain fog, cognitive decline. These are the type of words that they understand. And you don't tell them what you need. You guide them with your symptoms to get the testing that they need to do to perform this on you, to get you that diagnosis that you need. And again, this was an earlier episode with Dr. Lynn Burr on the Chosen Heroes, and then of course he's also documented, how to talk, with your doctor about the symptoms that you're having without mentioning the targeted individual and stuff, because that's where they shut off on you. But he has also created a guide that is for physicians in educating them about this as well, that you can download. And that was also part of that episode. And I believe I put that link out on the Chosen Heroes X. So look for that information. Arm yourself with the best, information you can when you're engaging with a medical doctor, because again, most of them, they are not going to, even if they're aware, some may be about targeted individuals. So we just need to focus in on the symptoms that you're having that suggest the Havana syndrome.
And that's so very true. I want to add to that. Number one, the diagnosis criteria that he created is in the Targeted Justice website in Dr. Bear's tab. Number
Mhm.
two, in Rumble channel, we have the spaces that we did with him, and he even did like a mock interview from a doctor and a patient,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
explained how to do it. So I urge you, I have to thank Ortain because he created a spaces channel in our Rumble channel. And also another reason why we need these affidavits is because of this. We are trying to get NIH to issue guidance for physicians around the nation to recognize the incidence of Havana syndrome in civilians. So that's one of the things that we're working on, one of the initiatives. And we need to convince them that it's real, that it's happening to non-federal employees. So, just do it for yourself, do it for this entire community that we want all to be free.
And where should they send their sworn affidavits to? At tjustice2 at
No,
proton.me
to me,
or to you?
Anna TJ at proton.me with a subject line confidential affidavit. Ana TJ at proton.me. But again, if you have not been diagnosed, because in the sworn statement that I shared the link, I in my meetup, I say, I was diagnosed by this person on this date, in this place, city and state. Okay, so you have to put in there the information of the physician diagnosing you.
Yes, and that's very, very critical to, the validity of, if you're taking this information and presenting it to these government agencies and representatives that can make a difference, they have to see the volume and the receipts, essentially, that you were diagnosed by a medical doctor with the symptoms and the condition that the Havana Syndrome, brought upon you, the deterioration, and all of that. So,
I just want to add to people not to be afraid, because I can understand that not everybody is like me. I'm not afraid of these criminals, but they are very afraid of this community because there is nothing harder for them to defeat than an empowered community. And if we come together in this effort, there's they can't defeat us. Truth, when we are shining light upon darkness, there is no stopping us. So I want to, I don't know how to communicate. Do not be afraid of them. They are afraid of us.
yes, we had one person in the chat saying that your audio is kind of chopping up a little bit. It's par for course. We know with live broadcasting and the
Let me try to.
perps, right?
Of course, of course we know what's, of course we know what's going on. It would surprise me if it wasn't cutting off. But I took out the electric cable. Is that any better? Ask them.
Can someone hear Anna better now that she, made an adjustment? I can see you more clearly because it was a little blurry on my end.
Yeah, because I think they use this. Let me turn off my silent night without give me a second. Hold on.
Okay. And again, I want to mention, I'm glad that Anna brought it up. The conversation example that you have with your doctor in discussing your symptoms and how to engage and interact with them. Definitely take advantage of that. It will give you good guidance on having that conversation with a physician. And it really is a great, example. And it'll arm you with what's best for you to guide them, but not tell them, because the doctors don't like to be told what they need to do in terms of testing and stuff. But everything that you're stating will give them the information that will direct them to the correct testing for you.
The important thing is prepare yourself with knowledge. Practice, even practice in front of the mirror. I practice in front of to this day, I practice in front of the mirror when I'm going to have a meeting or something, and be very calm and be just like you say, go to the point. Don't tell them what they have to diagnose. Because that, it's like me. I hate it when somebody tells me what I have to do. It makes me so angry. So it's like, don't you tell me what I have to do. It's like an inherent
Right.
rebellious. But I'm grateful to be here. I'm really grateful to be here and to have this amazing opportunity to shed light upon the darkness that has taken away from so much from us.
So Ana, what do you see as the most promising for helping the targeted individuals achieve justice and the removal from the watch list, like the terrorist screening database? Would that be, the proof of having the receipts from the Privacy Act request, the FOIA request, that these, people that have committed no crimes are being surveilled and monitored and tracked? I mean, what is it going to take for them to open up for, how we are being attacked and stalked and all of this? What do you think it's going to be? I know you're kind of up in DC. You've got people's attention. You've even had people in representatives and offices there in DC say that they are aware, that they know they need to do something about it.
I think that we cannot back down. We have to explore. Like right now, something's got to give. We're exploring. I'm here and I'm concentrating in Congress and Senate, and if the deep state has people that are walls there to prevent me from accessing them. But it's not, it's not going to stop me from doing it, because I know I'm going to do it. And then we're going through the NIH avenue too, because they are violating their legal obligation to address this silent epidemic that is happening in our nation because of the pressure of the intelligence community. On the other hand, we have Tulsi Gabbard, that she's supposed to be investigating the abuses of the intelligence community. And I don't know what she's allowing the carnage to continue, because all of these mass murders are the result, as we know, of the CIA clandestine operations. Like Stephen Miller said, they are a clandestine agency that is illegally operating within our nation. They're supposed to operate only outside of the United States, not here. And so that's another front that we're having. But when it comes to what people can do, not only do we need them to be a fervent digital warriors, but most importantly, to maintain the pressure with these requests, very well written, very well documented, Privacy Act requests. And I am going to be providing you with the tools for that. Now that I discovered that through this statute, the people from Europe can also demand to see their records. Well, we have, we just need to build the pressure. And I know it's going to end up on a judicial forum. And I still have not decided. I think that, strategically how to do it. There's two options that we're contemplating how to do it, but I'm not going to go into it now, because that's, I'm not going to tell the criminals what I'm going to do, what we're going to do. But I need you to be prepared. I need you to gather your information and get it going, just get it going and get your appeals going once, if they dare deny it, as they have already done to two persons, get it going. Because this, the program is no longer covered. I really urged everybody, and this is something, Melissa, that I have tried to inspire people into helping me create a conference with pastors and ministers. They could all meet in one place, and then they can show not only Dominic's um, documentary, but also we could have an hour and a half, 2 hour Zoom call with me and with Dr. Bear or with Richard explaining the weapons. And most importantly, because ministers and pastors and priests, they are there to save souls and to save lives and to provide comfort. And this, the way I see that, you can help me organize this is by telling them, your mission is to rescue souls and to give support to people. And this can only provide you with some tools so that when you encounter your parishioners, your church members that are going through the situation, you can understand what they're going through and come up with a way to support them. And that is why, I am only one person. I wish I could be everywhere and I could do everything. But if if a group of volunteers, if you are interested in there are so many digital resources to know who are the pastors, where, how many churches, what churches, to do this amazing conference. And we can do it, in different time zones also. But for them to provide them with the tools so they can serve God better and their community.
Absolutely, and just something that each person can do today is to, you know, share the cognitive liberty mind control video in a public forum, or in a chat or a discussion that that has a lot of high visibility and traffic, and drop it there, because you just never know how many people you can reach with this information. And the way that it is presented is so digestible, that someone unaware, it will get the wheels turning, and it will give them the information that they need to then pass that on, and to maybe relate that that's happening with someone that they know that was describing something, that, and maybe they were quick to judge, or maybe it will help them intercede with someone who does come forward and is expressing that they are being a targeted person. So, I mean, these are little things that we can do. In addition to, I really encourage everybody to request your information. And as Anna stated, the template that she used for herself, and that was modeled off of one that, how Tulsi Gabbard got her information, correct? We cannot just sit here and knowing that we're targeted, and there are documents and out there about it proving that it is being done to us. We have to continue to try. And if we get denied, then we review, and let's see what could have been something that missed. And like Anna said, they want all variations of names. So anytime that you filled out a credit request, a mortgage application, anything like that, you got to think about every single name that you've ever used, whether it be your initial, your whole middle name, your previous married name. Everything has to be in there, because they will just throw that out over the smallest little thing, right? They're looking for more. Because isn't addresses also part of that, or or employers a part of that too, or?
Well, I put my prior addresses because maybe some of the information was like, let's say, surveillance on 122 whatever street. Okay, and so it it's not necessarily under my name, even though it's supposed to be with my terror screening center number. So I just, I put, and I even put also my emails. Why? Because, we have these people interfering with our email. So I said, in any of these email accounts, what you want is to prevent them from saying, oh, no, I didn't produce that because you didn't specify it was from that account. Like if you said, the happiest person at protonmail.com, but oh no, I didn't know that was your email. That's not true. They know exactly they know so much more about us that we don't even know, because they have information about the people that betrayed us, the people that sold out on us, the people that investigated us. They have all that information that we don't have it yet. So we just have to make it so that they cannot deny us information.
Yes, absolutely. We have to try, and that's a good point about the addresses as well, because for me personally, on the NIH, website, I'm under my married name there. And so, yeah, so you have to include all those names. And I guess that's when I got, kind of entered in the medical portion of it. It just boggles your mind when we have these so-called laws, HIPAA, protecting our medical privacy, but, it's very important to read that fine print when you're, signing, attesting to have its services done, because I think that is where they kind of farm that out to research facilities and stuff, or laboratories and things of that nature. But, well, circling back, yes, those emails and. Mm-hmm.
I want to mention something that I saw last week with Tucker Carlson, and it is that thank God I don't have any of these, but you have to be very careful with all your Google searches, because anything that you search in Google is recorded for life. Mm-hmm. And that is one way that they can come say, oh, well, here's the terrorist predicate for this person. Be very mindful, because you think you're in the privacy. Oh, I have a VPN. No, these criminals, they go through everything. So just be very careful. And I have to emphasize that, because it's just stay away from people that scream trouble.
Yes, you want to surround yourself with, positivity and, good character, because guilt by association, that's a very, real thing. You get lumped into something just because others are behaving a certain way also. That's probably another outlet or avenue entry into this targeting program. You may not have been guilty of any wrongdoing or suspicion, but maybe people that you associated with were, and then they started to look into you to get closer to them. And then it just became a blacklisting altogether because of it. I wanted to point out there were some comments too, if we want to go through, trying to find one from earlier. Let me bring this one up, because this was a question for you, Ana. So they're saying that they could not find the paragraph that you want us to add to the letter when we go to the A3P Action Center. Is there somewhere published where that paragraph exists that will help with the writing?
It's in targetedjustice.com/activism. That's where the sample Privacy Act request is. It's the paragraph that says, but I'm going to add to it. Give me a couple of days, because I'm going to add to it that if you cannot send all this information to me on a CD, I want to personally go to the FBI office and tell me when you're going to have them available for me. So give me a couple of days, but it's going to be in the Targeted Justice website.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And let me take a look. I had flagged a couple of comments. We've had a lot of interaction with the chat today. Thank you so much for participating. There's so many wonderful comments here, and it's good to see everybody engaging with one another. All right. Of course, I flagged one. Here's one. All right. I want to show this one. All right, Riley is saying that they want to get more involved. They're a tech guy and have a lot of technical knowledge on neuroweapons. You know, we encourage, if you have a lot of information that you want to share, you can share that information with Targeted Justice. You can write the Chosen Heroes at the email addresses. We would appreciate that.
One of the things that I would, we don't need that much information on neuroweapons. What we really need to help the community, if Riley here could create some sort of newsletter to help TIs fight back the hacking and how to protect themselves and their computers. I know these people have like really powerful mechanisms and memes, but we really don't need information on the neuro weapons. For that, I have Lighthouse. We don't need that. What we need is to help the community, giving tools to them to deal with the hacking and what things to check for and how to protect their phone. Like Sean had his phone destroyed, and so did Miguel, and so did Jill. And so that's what that would be very valuable for this community to have somebody that could, you could do a Substack on it and help this community prevent the harm that they suffer from so much hacking from these criminals. I'm just throwing that out there because that doesn't exist.
Yes, very good point. There were a couple of comments out that said that, they had made that they would rather be in jail than being tortured. But I can't urge you enough, just not to do something that will lead you into being in jail. Because as we know, inmates have complained and stated that they were, medically implanted, and again, you're confined and you don't know what you're going to be subjected to. So you never know how much worse something could be until you're experiencing it firsthand. So it's better just to be safe than sorry and not do anything to land you in, being incarcerated or in jail.
And let me, if I can only add to that, Melissa, number one, be very careful what you wish for, because there are many ways for it to come true. Number two, when you're in jail, you are severely gang stalked. You are severely tortured, and you don't even have a little bag of water to protect yourself. And like you said, inmates have no rights when it comes to implantation, absolutely zero. So they will implant you any which way they can. So just be very careful with what comes out of your thoughts and your mouth, because it might become true.
Yes, words are very, very powerful, and they can create manifestations. So we want to make sure that we stay in the light, and, we're already bombarded at every direction with negativity as a result of this program. So we have to be the light shining out, countering it. And I can't go one day without, leaning on, the power of God and, the Holy Spirit in protection, because, we are under serious attack and spiritual attack. I mean, this is every angle of evil, coming at us. I was going to bring up this comment to Katya. Katya states they're pushing her to get a whole new identity with new name, new B date, and SSN. Now, and the reason why I wanted to show this is because there was a targeted individual in conversation. I think it was in one of the teleconferences. The V2K had said that, directed them, and I'm not saying that this is a V2K instance. This could be actual people saying this to you. But in this example that I'm stating is this targeted individual was being instructed by their V2K to change their name and SSN and all that information. And then once they changed their name, the name that they chose and the new social, it was from connected to a criminal. And then they had criminal charges brought up against them with this new name. So just be very, very careful. Ana, you want to, expand your thoughts on that as well in terms of, if someone is telling or directing. To me, I view anything that is that is coming, especially, with V2K or others, because we know we're really, we're being gang stalked, and, they're wanting to set traps for us. That I would really think long and hard before doing anything in that nature.
I would absolutely not do that, because that also could be a way of you not accessing, like you say, either a setup or you not being able to access any more information about you. And one of the things I remember that these people like to do is for you to, let's say, change your phone number. And then there's a lot of your accounts that are tied to that number. So then you get locked out of those accounts. It's always a setup with these people. So if there's no need for it, why do it? If you think that changing your name is gonna make your targeting go away, think again. You are being tracked through the top of your head, and anywhere you go, they will find you. So if that's the reason, it's a waste of money and time. I don't know why any other reason why anybody would do that.
Yeah, because she was being directed to do this. She was being instructed. This whole thing is very coercive. It is very gaslighting, being targeted, and it's very manipulative. I was being told, that if I wrote a letter saying that it was all in my head and I mailed it to that multimillionaire, that they would give me my privacy back. My thought then and my thought today is there is no honor amongst thieves. Okay. They have stolen privacy. They have stolen personal information off my devices and tried to use it as blackmailing, gaslighting, whatever, about your very personal things that they want to exploit if I don't do what they want. Now I can tell you, you can stand firm in these blackmailing, because that is one thing they really want you to do, is to do what they want you to do. And none of these things did I act on that I was instructed to do, and nothing came out of it. Meaning that, nothing came out of it. They'll even tell you that they're going to kill you and make it look like a suicide. That's what they told me. They said that everyone is breakable. They were bragging about this stuff. So you have to know what the element, that the evil that you're dealing with, and see through it for what it is. It is to invoke fear, to isolate you, to get you to do something that is not for your highest good. So if you are ever in doubt in what's your highest good, you just need to call upon God and the Holy Spirit to give you the discernment to know what is only the truth, to shield you from the manipulations and the subliminal and all of that stuff that is being directed at you. Because these are the stumbling blocks that each and every one of us have to go through, and none of it ends in a success. where we get our privacy back. We stop getting tortured because we listen to what a gang stalker, a perpetrator, a violator is, a criminal is instructing us to do. There is no honor amongst thieves. Anna, you want to?
And you're bound to lose. You're bound to end up accused. Many of these mass shooters were told, if they did whatever crime it was, their voices will go away. Don't fall for it. The devil is a liar. Don't fall for it. How are you going to trust the same entity that is torturing you? I find that so very hard to believe and to understand, but just like Melissa says, look to the Holy Spirit for guidance, because it is through the glory of God that many of us are here today.
You should never
I had
trust your
no
torturer.
never ever
Never.
ever.
They are
they
not
don't
going to
have
be
your
the ones to
best
stop this.
they don't have your best
thrive.
interest in
No,
heart.
they thrive off of you suffering. They're not going to be the end of your suffering. They don't, because if they lose, what they're doing to you, then they got to go find somebody else to make some money off of, or like narcissists, to be an energy vampire elsewhere, because they have to have narcissistic supply. They're attracted to the light, and they want to see, to me, I equivalent this evil as, it's like a cat, pinning its paw on a mouse, and it's wiggling around, and they just love to watch it wiggle. So this is where you have to flip the script on them, and don't give them the satisfaction of wiggling to their manipulations and their tactics, because that's what they want. They want that reaction. They want that emotional trigger response. They want you to invoke the fear in you. So starve them.
Yeah, I totally agree. Don't give them the pressure.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a good way to end. That was, thank you for your feedback and this wonderful presentation on the Privacy Act. It's definitely, inspired me to get that new paperwork out and done, and to not accept the defeat from the first attempt, and making sure that I'm very careful and thoughtful of the information. Because if we look at it through the lens of when did this begin, and we may not be fully aware of exactly, we could have become aware of it at a certain year, right? But it could have been happening before that. So you really need to just kind of, survey your whole history in terms of your names and your addresses, and do not leave any stone unturned there, because that entry could be one of those, and information could be, really, a lot of information could be connected to one of those names, one of those addresses, like Anna said. So we want to make sure that when we are completing this request, that we are very, thoughtful, and in preparing the document, so that we don't have to, continuously try again.
Yeah, the moment is now. Look, if the Republicans lose the midterms, it's gonna stop any possibility we have. It's gonna stop it on our tracks. The president is not gonna be able to do anything, and whether you agree with him or not, or you have, whatever your opinion, the truth is one, and it is that this under the current administration is that we have a hope of freedom. I can tell you that after we have seen what happened with USAID and all the scandals that have come out. I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm saying this is our moment to do this. So get going and just send out your requests and just do it right.
Absolutely. And hi, Cool Breeze Tony. Good to see you. He says he's been making signs, kind of like garage sale signs, about, being the targeted program. That's a good idea. I mean, there's, we need to start, stirring the public interest because, I mean, of course, the community knows what's going on, right? Because we live and breathe it 24/7. But if we could put a bumper sticker or a sign in our yard, that says, targetedjustice.com or something about stop, government weaponization or whatever it is, you can be creative. You have to draw them to where the source of information is about the targeting program. Like Targeted Justice is going to be a really good resource for that, along with, when you're out there in the community forums and the high traffic chats on social media and you're dropping, Dominic's cognitive liberty mind control video, you could also include targetedjustice.com so that, they have a link to go to in addition to the video that is that they're watching, because they may want to know more information. So this is how we can combat the issue of the general public not being aware and to start feeding them the truth.
And the censorship. Also, I am the DC group. It's DC, Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania. He is going to be preparing, planning activities for us to go out. So please reach out to us if you are in the DC area. Please reach out to me and Anna TJ at proton.me so that I can contact you with Rick. He is fabulous. He is planning so we can have, when you have a group and a support group set up, gang stalking goes down, and we get, how much fun it was targeted action that we get to speak the same language. Well, we're going to do that group here. So for those of you in this area, please write to me so that I can connect you with Rick, who is organizing the group. And I need help. We're going to bring banners. We're going to be in some intersections in the morning. So I want some of you to be volunteers with me holding banners at high traffic times, just to keep the momentum going of raising awareness.
Absolutely. And for everybody, I've got Anna's social media. She has her own website at www.anatoledo.com. Her X handle is there. The Mira Substack newsletter publication link is there, along with Medium. Her Medium blog is there as well, and her Facebook account. And she's also provided her email address in this podcast as well for those who are interested in volunteering and being a part of support groups in the DC area. Don't hesitate to reach out. Anna, it's really been wonderful having this conversation with you this afternoon. I really appreciate you being a guest today.
Thank you for having me. I love it. And I really want the community to know that, they are the ones that inspire me to continue going. And I am so appreciative of the prayers, which are welcome and needed, and the support that you have given me. So because, I am absolutely, and don't let anybody tell you that we're not going to be free. It's a matter of time, it's a matter of when, but we're going to accomplish it. So don't let your V2K, don't let the Debbie Downers, don't let the pessimistic perps tell you otherwise. We will be free, but we're all of us are in this together. So we need your support for it. Thank you, Melissa.
Oh, you're welcome. I mean, and like you have said too, we, each and every person, tuning in and those who are watching later, are more powerful than we know and realize. And there's too many of us to discredit what we are stating. So we just need to continue to fan that flame of truth and awareness out there. Because, as Anna said, this is going to get exposed and it's going to be shut down. People have to understand what they're up against. It's like the entire population outside of, we have already experiencing this, but it's almost like they're being guided and steered into a corral where everybody will be subjected to this. I can't say it enough. What we do today to stop this targeting is the future of humanity, the children, so that they know what it's like to be a divine sovereign being covered by God, right? Because they're wanting to disconnect us from that. They're wanting to control and to, experiment and to torture us, just because we are truth speakers and light bringers in this world. So it's a very critical mission right now. The avenues are opening up. We know it's it's slower than what we want, but we have to look back. 5 years ago, was there this kind of presence on social media channels? No. You have to see the big picture. And greatness takes time. And we have all of, God and the divine, the universe backing us on this very critical mission. Not only is it for humanity, but for this planet and the beautiful creatures on this planet as well. All life on this earth. There is not one segment or space on this earth that is not under directed energy influence and manipulation. So we have to stand strong for humanity. And this is my prayer every single day, because light workers are being activated all around the world right now. And we are bringing this information forward. We are like a light army, shining through all of this darkness and this chaos and this manipulation. And God is activating these whistleblowers. And join me in the prayer of all of these whistleblowers that are coming forward are covered by God, and they will have a successful mission. Their soul mission is activated. And I really do feel like, of course, Ami, I know you can relate to our soul mission is activated. I could have never thought my introvert self would have been on a podcast talking, but this is how God moves, and covers you and inspires you and gives you that voice, because it is a very important time for humanity. And these whistleblowers bringing forward this information have undeniable proof. They are not going to be able to dispute all of this information that is just flooding out from. It's just like a dam breaking, with all of this corruption and torture being done to innocent women, men, and children all around the world. They cannot repair the dam. They're just trying to band-aid it, but they don't have the forces, because the light will always conquer the darkness. And please know that you carry that light and you are powerful. Obviously, you're being targeted. There's something about you that they want to suppress. So expand your wings and fly and be encouraged and embrace the beauty of who you are, because you are a critical part of the whole piece. So
Amen to that. Amen.
Yeah. Amen. And thank you. And God bless and cover you and all the things that you do for this community, Ana. You are definitely anointed by God in this mission and covered. And we thank you for all your efforts.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Melissa. And thank you for what you do also, because you're holding a lot of people here. So one thing is for real. We have all become better versions of ourselves since we became targeted. And that's my mission.
Amen. Beautifully stated. And thank you, each and every one of you, for tuning in. And God bless you, cover you, and have a great week ahead. Thank you so much. Have a blessed evening. See you next week.